Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans, coming to you live, as a matter of fact, on what day is today? Friday, December the 20th?
Crazy, yeah, it's the 20th.
The 20th, 2013. Welcome to the show. This is our very special end of the year final episode of AMC Movie Talk for the year of 2013. My name is John Campia. I'm the editor-in-chief of AMC Movie News. And as you can tell, we're not in our regular AMC Movie Talk studio. We have decided to go very casual today. And we are in Studio B, also known as the studio I have set up at home. And joining me today for our final end of the year, and by the way, special long episode of AMC Movie Talk. We're going to go over a half hour today. We're probably going to get into the 90-minute range, and we'll see how that goes. We're just going to spend today taking your questions and everything, your comments. We're going to take a lot of questions from the mailbag. We're going to take questions from the chat board. Dennis has got the chat board open too. And speaking of Dennis, I should introduce the people joining me today. First of all, sitting over to my immediate right, the production manager of AMC Movie News, Mr. Dennis Zen. Dennis, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm excited that we're going to be doing this interactive live show today.
Woohoo! And of course, sitting beside him, writer, director, AMC film commentator, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp.
What's going on? Ready to talk for 90 minutes, yo?
Woohoo! Okay, so, hey guys, before we do anything else, I want to remind you of something here. We are on January 2nd. We are doing a 24-hour live streaming AMC Movie Talk marathon. And one of the key things, and the reason we're doing this marathon, is to raise money for, you can see the URL under me here. We are raising money to help support the victims of the most powerful typhoon in recorded history that struck and devastated the Philippines. I, of course, have a personal connection to the Philippines. My wife is Filipino. We have family over in the Philippines. Actually, her mom and dad were visiting there when the typhoon hit. Just the devastation there is incredible. We've already raised over $6,000, and that money is going to do so much good. And we want you to help us with this. Just go to this URL that you see here, www.crowdrise.com/AMC Movie News Philippines. So go there. You'll see that we're partnering with the Red Cross. There's a big Donate Now button. You can click Donate and donate $10, $20, $1,000, whatever you can. And know that your money is going to a really, really good cause. So, with that being said, and as we start our hour and a half long show today, let's start with this, guys. Really, in most of the show, all we're going to do is take questions from the live board and everything. But yesterday, the big announcement yesterday was that Ant-Man has been cast. We've got our Ant-Man. It's Paul Rudd. And we talked, Dennis was on the show with me yesterday, but Schnepp, you weren't here, so why don't you take this opportunity to talk a little bit about how do you see this casting? Do you like the Paul Rudd casting? Did it surprise you? What do you think?
I think it's great casting. Following in the footsteps of Chris Pratt for Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy, bringing a little bit more levity and bringing in someone who has comedic chops but can also be a real actor. Paul Rudd is personifies that. And I think he's going to bring a lot of not just comedy to Ant-Man, but a realistic, everyman kind of flavor to that character. And that'll really help, I think, in bridging the gap between a lot of people who don't even know who Ant-Man is. They're like, Ant-Man, what is he? It's the size of an ant? Yes. And he's like Aquaman, but he can talk to ants. And all of the bug creatures, insects, he's friends with them. They do stuff for him because he can talk in their language. So I think that just has comedy written all over it. Like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, a little bit of that flavor is probably going to be the first, series of events once he shrinks to the size of an ant. I can only imagine. But then, obviously superheroics will become involved, and eventually I hope he joins the Avengers for Avengers 3. So, I mean, if they're going to use him as Scott Lang or Hank Pym, that hasn't been decided yet. I'm hoping that he's actually Hank Pym. So,
I remember I read one report that the first report that came out in Variety and the Hollywood Reporter said he was going to play Hank Pym. Now, maybe they were just assuming. Now, last night, Marvel put out a statement confirming the report. And we knew it was going to be, when the Hollywood Reporter and Variety run it, it's about to be confirmed. Mm-hmm. So Marvel did confirm it last night. It's all 100%. But they didn't actually mention it. This was just interesting. It might not mean anything, but they didn't actually mention Hank Pym.
No, they didn't.
So that has some people speculating, well, maybe it will be Scott Lang.
Right, because I did read in several different articles that both Hank Pym and Scott Lang are in this screenplay. Obviously, that can all change. They haven't even started shooting it yet, but at least that's what they're working with. So.
Well, yeah, I think the guy who wrote the screenplay with Edgar Wright, the guy who directed or wrote Attack the Block.
Sure, Joe Cornish.
Right, Joe Cornish. I believe it was like about 8 months ago, I think he made that comment that they were looking at maybe Hank Pym and Scott Lang in it. But I haven't heard anything official to say either is true. Right. So, I mean, I don't know. But it is nice that Marvel came out and confirmed it rather quickly. That's all set in stone. But once again, I want to bring this up. I talk about this all the time. It was only about a few weeks ago, not long ago, that a reporter asked Paul Rudd about the Ant-Man casting rumors, because at the time it was still just rumors. And he said, oh, no, I haven't heard anything about it. We haven't talked to anybody, blah, blah, blah. And then a lot of people was like, see? So it's not true. Keep talking. They lie. They lie. Never take a denial as confirmation that's not happening. J.J. Abrams said Khan wasn't the villain. Bradley Cooper said he wasn't going to be in A-Team. We could go down a big, huge list of about 30 examples of an actor saying, no, I'm not in that. That's just a rumor. And then like a week later, they're starring in the movie. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on with that. Also, yesterday, Schnepp, you had a chance. You finally saw Saving Mr. Banks yesterday.
Yes, I did.
And what did you think about it?
You know what? I really liked it. I don't think it's an Oscar contender. It felt, and this is not a diss in any way, but it felt a little bit like a Lifetime movie in that it's like it's a very safe kind of like 60s My Three Sons kind of take on storytelling. So there's a lot of drama and there's a lot of emotional moments, especially going into her childhood when you're finding out who Mr. Banks is, and no spoilers, but you'll find out. I thought Tom Hanks did an incredible job, and Emma Thompson definitely deserves an Oscar nomination. She was incredible. I don't know. It was a good movie, is what I could say. As you know, definitely take the family to go see it. It's a great, fun film. But it wasn't on like some kind of like, it wasn't on a high stakes level for me as far as like emotionally moving. I don't know. I really enjoyed it, but at the same time, it felt a little soft in a weird way. That's all I can say. But I definitely recommend it highly. I highly recommend it. It's a great Christmas film too. So it's a feel good film is what I would say.
All right. So let's get into some movie questions. Our whole time today here is just going to be doing this show live and talking to you guys. Think of today's show more like a radio talk show. We're just going to be a lot more informal. We don't have any structure to today. We're just going to talk movies. Mostly, though, we're going to read questions from the mailbag, and we're going to take questions from the chat board. Let us get through some mailbag questions first, and then we'll ask for questions from the mailbag. Dennis, do you have the ability to like copy and paste some questions from there? Maybe if you see a good question or two, maybe copy it somewhere so we can remember it.
Oh, you know what? I was going to add, a lot of people are always like, yeah, and put in more pictures. And this is going to have no pictures.
Oh, yeah, no pictures.
So if you're sitting at your office, get back on your Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. Just listen to there's not going to be any pictures accompanying any of our comments. So.
No. See, that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize we record the show live. And so we bring up these questions, or we bring up these topics, right? And then like, I don't know what Dennis is going to say. I have no idea what Dennis is going to say when we bring up the topic on the show. Because like my philosophy on podcasting has always been, do not talk about anything before the show starts. Because I want the conversation to feel real. I want it to be a real conversation. I don't want it to be scripted other than the news story itself, because we write out the news stories, but then our comments and our feedback, we don't talk about it. I don't want to know what they're going to say, because when I react to what Dennis says, or when Schnepp reacts to what I say, I want it to be like a real conversation, that he's actually reacting to what I just said. So if he's going to bring up, like if we're talking about Superman and he decides to bring up, we're talking about Man of Steel, and Schnepp decides to bring up Kevin Smith for whatever reason. We had no idea he was going to bring up Kevin Smith, and we don't have a picture of Kevin Smith all sit there and ready to go. So the reason we don't use more pictures when we bring up people in our answers on AMC Movie Talk is because we record the show live. and we're not ready to have like a whole 1,000 pictures ready to go. So I agree with you. It's fun to have more pictures in there, but we only can prepare a certain amount of pictures because we don't know what each other's going to say. And today, there's no pictures.
But now that we've said that, bring up that picture from Kevin Smith's Tusk, the walrus picture. Let's bring that one up. Can't. Sorry. So.
All right, so I'm going to open up the AMC mailbag here. I have not pre-picked questions today, by the way. I have just opened up the mailbag here. I'm going to run down through it live in front of you right now and just open up some questions. That means we're probably going to have some very low-quality questions today because I'm not going to preview them. I'm not going to, what would you call it, filter them. Right. I'm not going to be a screener for it. I'm just going to open up a question and start reading it. And maybe it'll be a good question.
Or
maybe it'll be bad one.
Could they be the best questions ever?
Ever. Because that's just how we're rolling today.
Was
everybody.
JGL Robin? That's going to be like 10 of the questions.
All right, so I've got the mailbag open. Let's pick one here. I'm going to just start with fictional characters. Okay, coming from Anthony Perez. And the email reads from Anthony Perez, "Hey, all, love the show. I'm writing because I want to play a little game with all of you. Me and my friends like to fake game called Fictional Posse, which is basically a what-if scenario. Say the world is at war. Government is crumbling and chaos. Chaos is loose on the streets. The only people you could trust are the 5 hand-picked members of your team. These people will be your closest confidants, and they will fight alongside of you into battle. What 5 fictional characters, whether from film, TV, or literature, would you pick to fight alongside of you? Mine are the Incredible Hulk, Sam Winchester from Supernatural, the reprogrammed T-800, Blade, and Maximus from Gladiator. So choose wisely, and thanks." Okay, so the first question is, we're going into a fight. The world's in apocalypse. We got to pick 5 fictional characters to be our posse. Who do you pick? I'll start with this one. Yeah. Number 1, Superman. Done. What about you guys? I don't need 4 more. I got Superman. Done. Seriously. If you're going to pick any 5, if we're going to take Superman out of it, who would I pick? I don't know. Liam Neeson from Taken.
Not a Zeus.
Not as,
that's too powerful.
No, let me rephrase. Number 1, I will take Liam Neeson from Taken. I will take number 2, Liam Neeson from Clash of the Titans. Number 3, I will take Liam Neeson from not the Highlander. What was that one where he came out like after the
Dark Knight? Yeah, wasn't he? He was like,
well, yeah. I'll take Liam Neeson from Dark Knight as Ra's al Ghul. I will then take Liam Neeson
as from Darkman
when he was as Darkman, and number 5 when he was that Scottish warrior in the old time.
Rob Roy.
Rob Roy. So yeah, number 1, Liam Neeson from. I will take 5 Liam Neesons. That is my posse. Dennis.
I will pick 5 Jaegers and I will pilot them all. It was just going to be me in 5 different ones.
Dennis piloting 5 Jaegers all at once. I don't even know if I could fight that.
Okay, I will take off Liam Neeson from the number 5 spot. And since Dennis is piloting 5 Jaegers, I will put Dennis Zen in my number 5 spot.
As all 5 Jaegers?
As all 5
I don't know. How can I beat that? Maybe perhaps with Beetlejuice as my number 1 choice. Let's go with Garfield, the animated version, Bill Murray voicing it.
Because he's animated, yo. I mean, like, what is somebody going to do to him? How are they going to stop him?
Yeah, you can't stop an animated cartoon. They're not even real. Let's see. Bizarro Superman.
That's not bad. Yeah,
from the Superman from Superman 4, the edited scenes that only exist on YouTube. You could just search out Superman 4 Quest for Peace Bizarro deleted scenes. That's the character that I'm picking. So that's 3.
The baby from Look Who's Talking.
Even though I wasn't going to say that, I will steal Dennis Jägermeister choice right here. And my 5th one is Black Bolt. So
that's
he just shuts everything down when he opens his mouth. So
okay, so there we go. We got a team of 5 Liam Neesons, 5 piloted Jaegers, and a team led by Beetlejuice. I like these picks. I think we're doing well. Okay, let me get on to the next question here. The next question comes to us from Jamal Pulliam. I hope I'm saying your name right, Jamal. And he writes, "Hi, AMC Movie Talk crew. Big fan of your show. You guys rock. My question is, in your opinion, between 47 Ronin and Grudge Match, which movie do you think is going to make more money at the box office? Keep up the awesome work. Well, for those of you who don't know what Jamal's talking about, 47 Ronin is the new samurai fantasy. Pardon me. Who's the star again? Keanu Reeves. It's Ted from there. And, of course, Grudge Match is the new Sylvester Stallone, Robert De Niro film about aging boxers. Which one is going to make more money? That's a great question, because Stallone's films have not been doing well, whether it's Bullet to the Head or Escape Plan. His last two films have not done well at all. Robert De Niro isn't exactly a huge, while one of the greatest actors of all time, not exactly one of the biggest box office draws ever, but the trailers have been hilarious. The trailers have been really hilarious. And I think Keanu Reeves still has a little bit of M. Night Shyamalan syndrome. I think there are some people, fairly or unfairly, see that Keanu Reeves is starring in it and kind of chuckle. And I think that's working against it. And the fact that it's really high fantasy and things like that, I think that'll work against it. I'm gonna guess Grudge Match will make the most money. I'm not saying which one will be the better film. I think Grudge Match will be the better film. But if the question is which one will make more money, I'm going to say Grudge Match is going to make more money than 47 Ronin. And I don't think either is going to make a lot. I'm looking forward to checking them both out, but I think Grudge Match will be the better film, and I think Grudge Match will end up being the one that makes more money. Dennis, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Grudge Match will make the most money because of the curiosity factor. I think people are going to like, it's Rocky versus Raging Bull, so we have to see it. And also, I think there's an older audience that's interested in that. The same audience that'd be interested in 47 Ronin. They'd probably go see The Hobbit instead. You know?
Yeah.
I'm actually interested in seeing both. Yeah. So I don't care, but I do think Grudge Match is going to make more money, even though 47 Ronin probably cost way more.
Right. Yeah. Schnepp?
I'm with you guys. I'm more excited to see Grudge Match. It just feels like it's going to be a more entertaining and fun 2 hours of my time. The last trailer of 47 Ronin, though, really sold me on wanting to see the 47 Ronin film. But up until then, I'd seen a couple of different trailers for it. And unfortunately, I agree with John as far as like the Keanu Reeves kind of like burnout factor, where it's like, oh, he's in it and he's doing like a Neo character. Nah. I mean, it's just like it's kind of burnt into my mind now, whether I like it or not. So, but that last trailer just felt like, oh, okay, it's going to be a little bit more of a journey film. And it definitely, there are only 47 Ronin, so it's not like there's a secret 48th Ronin or whatever. I don't know. It's like, I definitely want to see Grudge Match, because just that trailer alone just made me laugh out loud many times. I'm thinking it's going to win the box office as well. I don't know. Yeah, neither of them are going to be slam dunks, though. So,
and hey, I'm going to let you guys know right now, a lot of people are emailing in. The chat, the mailbag is starting to fill up a lot. More because you guys are emailing us to amcmovietalk@gmail.com, which you can. You can also leave questions on the live chat board. I'm going to let you know, though, in a little bit later in the show, we are actually giving away some prizes. Woo! We're going to give away some prizes. And here are some of the prizes we got. I'm going to run them down here. First of all, one of the prizes that we have that we're going to be giving away is, what do we got here? We've got a collector set of the Thor The Dark World Collector 3D glasses. You will get one with the Thor theme, one with the Loki theme, and one with the Malekith theme. So you will get a set of the three collectors Thor The Dark World 3D glasses. Next, another prize we're going to be giving away is a Blu-ray copy of The Wolverine, which is out, so that's a pretty cool prize.
That includes the special ninja fight that they didn't have in the real movie, right, John?
Correct.
And it's got extra CG blood added.
And also, from the upcoming X-Men Days of Future Past, we have a Trask Industries hat. Actually, I think we got a couple of those we're going to give away. And then I think the best giveaway that we're going to be doing today is 5 sets of 2 movie tickets, 2 free popcorns, and 2 small fountain drinks at AMC Theater. So you will get 5 sets of 2 movie tickets, 2 free small popcorns, 2 free small fountain drinks, and we're going to be giving those away a little bit later in the show. And the way you're going to be able to get these prizes, get these giveaways, is I'll probably ask some random question, and what we're going to need you to do is to tweet us. We're going to have you tweet us using the hashtag AMC Movie Talk, and with your answer. And then make sure you're following me, by the way, on Twitter. And you can find me on Twitter at John Campia. Make sure you're following me because I'm going to need to direct message the winners to let them know how to get their free reward, as it were. So make sure you're following me at John Campia on Twitter. And then a little bit later in the show, we're going to ask a couple of questions, and you will tweet us the answers with the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. And that's how we'll get to some of the giveaways. So with that being said, let's get back to some of the movie questions. And the next question comes to us from McQuone Cole. And McQuone writes, this is Mac C. Hey guys, I love your show. Keep up the great work. I was wondering, what trailers will we see during the Super Bowl? I hope we see a Transformers and a Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. What do you guys think? I don't know the answer to that question. This is one of the consequences of not screening the questions in advance. I don't know the answer to that. I agree with you. If I had to guess, I'm going to guess that we will see a Transformers one, because I think they're done principal photography on that film. They finished principal photography on Guardians of the Galaxy a while ago. But I also got a feeling we're going to see a Guardians of the Galaxy before the Super Bowl, but it seems a good one to fit for the Super Bowl. Dennis, do you have any answers to that?
When does Captain America come out again? March, I believe. Yeah, so I could see a Captain America during the Super Bowl, just one last push to say, hey, this big movie's coming out. Definitely Transformers. They've done it in the past. I've seen, during the Super Bowl. It's really expensive, though. What is it, like a $1.5 million for like 15 seconds?
Oh yeah, like it's unbelievably expensive. Like if you're a marketing guy, you want it's the biggest. It is the most watched event of the year. There is nothing else on planet Earth that gets more TV viewers than the Super Bowl. So if you're a marketer, that's where you want your product.
They could chuck Amazing Spider-Man 2 and X-Men Days of Future Past in there.
When does X-Men 2 come out, though?
That comes out, I think, in July.
Or May. Or Dennis, can you look that up? Yeah. So we'll get that out there. But those are just some of the ones that we're doing. I'm going to read off the next question while Dennis is looking up the answer to that. So the next question comes to us from Christopher Salvarani, who writes, hello, AMC. Love the show. My question is about Man of Steel and superhero films in general. In the film, Zod came to Earth only because he followed Kal-El there. Yet Superman is considered a hero because he essentially stopped a threat that he is to some extent responsible for and caused untold destruction while doing so. I feel like this is a common issue with the villain and hero who are too closely connected. I think Lex Luthor would be believably justified in wanting to take out Superman in Man of Steel 2 for dragging Krypton's problems to Earth. What are your thoughts on this? Well, here's my thought, and then I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. You're right. Sometimes in comic book movies, superhero movies, and any kind of action hero movie, it doesn't have to be a superhero movie. Sometimes the hero is directly or indirectly, I should say, kind of responsible for something the villain decides to do or be. We've seen that many times. In Man of Steel, remember, Clark had no decision in coming to Earth. His father sent him there. His father sent Clark to Earth. That was what, so it really was not Superman's fault whatsoever. He was just there. But also don't forget, in the movie, the Kryptonians were searching the galaxy for a world that they could take over. I mean, they were looking for a world that they could terraform and use for their new home world. But at the same time, they were also looking for Kal-El because they needed the DNA matrix that was in Kal-El's bone to then repopulate the world. So my answer to your question is, in the Man of Steel situation, I think the Kryptonians eventually would have found Earth. Eventually, they would have got there anyway. What they would have done with Earth, I'm not really sure. But this is not an uncommon thing, that the hero and the villain are really connected. How do you guys see it?
Well, before I start, the release date for X-Men Days of Future Past is May 23rd.
Okay, May 23rd. There we go.
As far as that question, yeah, I could see how the citizens of the world would look at Superman as kind of a villain as well. I mean, a lot of them would just see like, oh, these two super beings fighting and destroying all this stuff. Like, we need to get both of them out of here. So I think it's a plausible explanation for, and Lex Luthor, I'm sure, much like in today's world of corporate figures and he's probably, revered by a lot of people. They don't see him as a villain. They say, hey, this is a guy of industry that makes a lot of jobs and makes all these advances. So I can see that.
Schnepp?
Yeah, I'm sure they're probably going to have him helping clean up Metropolis when we start the movie. There'll be LexCorp cranes and all this other kind of stuff. And I don't know about Superman. More so, people of Earth would probably be frightened of a man who can fly and has superpowers and, all these incredible powers that make him basically a god amongst men on this planet. So that just instantly you'll have people in total fear, less so than like, this guy can enslave us. So
right,
we can't have one person have all this power. So, I mean, whether that makes him a supervillain or not, I mean, I think the superhero creating the supervillain kind of chain reaction started with Batman, the Michael Keaton, Tim Burton one, where you created me, I created you first, that kind of Joker Batman thing. And that is actually, the reason that came about is because it's a lot easier in a 2-hour movie to have the characters' origins kind of tied together.
Right.
That's why I think they're going with that Oscorp helping develop all of the supervillains, because you just get a lot of that backstory instead of like, and then I was just walking along the street and tripped into a giant can of radiation. Oh, that's weird. That happened to me too, but I fell into a gigantic canister of other kinds of superpowered radiation. Instead, it's like, the kind of fun 60s style corniness of everyone's origins is kind of put back into our now kind of version of like genetic testing, and we're using eel organs and all this other kind of weird stuff. Now we have a vulture DNA. So it just kind of makes sense in a storytelling for Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 for movies to wrap the characters' origins, or at least kind of tie them closer together. So, I mean, whether Superman is going to be a super villain, I think he'll be perceived by the general population as both a hero and a villain, especially in Man of Steel 2.
And let me throw this in there too, talking about this issue about because in the Man of Steel, this has always driven me crazy, because a lot of people complain, oh, Superman in Man of Steel, he let Metropolis get destroyed, and what kind of hero is that? Okay, hold on a second here. First of all, the greatest superhero movie of all time, I still contend, is the Avengers. All right, but in the Avengers, you know how much of Manhattan, New York, got destroyed? Lots of Manhattan, New York got destroyed. And there's this thing going around that, in Man of Steel, like all of Metropolis got destroyed. No, it didn't. I just watched it again the other day. And it's like, it's clear like a big block got destroyed. But you can see the vast majority of Metropolis is still standing and very healthy. And yet in Avengers, like tons of stuff got destroyed.
You had giant sea eels floating around and like just knocking out entire buildings. I mean, there's a lot of buildings went down,
Yeah, lots of stuff got destroyed. And somebody say, yeah, well, but the difference between the Avengers and Superman and Man of Steel is that in the Avengers, we're running around trying to save people. Well, that's because there were 6 of them. A couple of them were just fighting the aliens, which freed up a couple of them to try to run around and save as many people as they could. Man of Steel was all by himself, fighting a bunch of Kryptonians who were other gods trying to destroy all of humanity. Remember that.
Yeah.
Zod was there to destroy all of humanity. He wasn't there to conquer them and rule them. He was there to create mass genocide of the entire human race. And Superman held them all off by himself. He couldn't fight Zod and run around and save people at the same time. And then people get mad that Superman killed Zod. Well, of course he killed Zod. He was trying to wipe out the human race, and there was no other way to stop him. Anyway, that's just an argument I keep hearing from people that really frustrates me.
Well, other people will say, well, why didn't he just snap his neck right at the beginning? It's like, well, maybe he was trying to figure out a different way than kill him.
Yeah.
It was like, and it came down to that.
Yeah.
So.
It wasn't until he was finally in that position where Zod was trying to kill that family, and he couldn't stop him, and the only thing he could do was break his neck. I mean, so anyway, there's a question in here on the live chat board. I'm going to take my first one from the live chat board here, and I missed the name because the chat board is scrolling pretty fast. We've got over 1,000 people in the chat board live right now. So, but the question was basically this: what do you guys think about remaking and doing another Power Rangers movie? Guys, you would not believe how many questions I get from people asking about another Power Rangers movie. Wow. I mean, a lot. I'm going to give my answer because you're asking me. I'm going to give you my answer, and I always give my honest answer. I have absolutely no desire whatsoever to see another Power Rangers movie. It will bomb if they did another Power Rangers movie because nobody's interested in another Power Rangers movie. There's a very small, finite, tiny group of us. I'm not even going to say of us, of you guys who are interested in Power Rangers, and that's great. But I think we talked about on the show once before.
Yes.
There was a Power Rangers movie, and I think the first one made like $30 million or something. Whatever. Okay, fine. But then they made another Power Rangers movie like a year or two later, and it made like $8 million. So it went like this.
And that was closer to the height of the popularity of Power Rangers. Imagine now it's just a bunch, some people who are remembering from their past.
Yeah.
Not many people are going to see it. It's going to be like $5 million.
Right. So I don't know. Like, Schnepp, would you be interested in a Power Rangers movie?
No, but I'm not gonna diss anybody who'd want to see a Power Rangers movie.
No, not at all. There's lots of movies I would love to see that would be stupid.
I think fan films would sate that kind of Power Rangers need because I don't see that happening. And there's so many Power Rangers movies already. I mean, like little mini series, and I mean. I don't see them putting a lot of money into a new form of Power Rangers, even though kids aren't even buying those toys anymore.
Right.
So
it reminds me a lot of when people would say or would want to say to me that like a lot of questions that come up a lot often is Batman Beyond, and I try to tell people no, they will never do a Batman Beyond movie. They never should do a Batman Beyond movie because the vast majority of people. They think of Batman, they think of Bruce Wayne. They want a Bruce Wayne Batman. They don't want this tiny little fringe project Batman notion. Nobody wants it. And some people say to me, John, you have no idea. Millions and millions and millions and millions of people watched and loved Batman Beyond. I did some research. No, they didn't. And there's a reason Batman Beyond lasted 2 seasons. And that's because I think their most watched episode was 500,000 people. I think 500,000 people watched a Batman Beyond episode. So extrapolate that now. Now, if every single person that watched and liked Batman Beyond bought a movie ticket, went to go see a Batman Beyond movie, that means the movie makes $5 million. And we call that that's a world-ending bomb. That's a studio-crushing bomb. Right. So no, I know there's a community of people there who love it. And that's great, but you got to still understand that quite often we are in the vast minority when it comes to these geek niches. Like I belong to a lot of geek niches, and I got to just understand that we're such a minority that it wouldn't make financial sense to make a movie. When people think of Batman, they want Bruce Wayne. At least that's the way I've always perceived it, and I've always believed. Do you guys see it any other way?
Well, I mean, Batman Beyond, you have an older Bruce Wayne kind of training
like 90 years, or
right? 90, yeah. But I mean, I would see Batman Beyond more so in the same realm of like an Arrow, I mean, why not try it as a CW, series, like a Warner Brothers television series, live action. It would cost a lot less. It would be a lot less, pressure for it to succeed, and then they could test it, But as far as a movie, no, I mean, there's so many more movies to go with Batman, just regular Batman, I mean, infinite. So Batman Beyond is sort of like not as part of the movie spectrum for me, at least.
Dennis?
Yeah, just make an animated movie. Put it on TV or straight to DVD.
No, they've already done that, though.
Have
they've done a bunch of them, like Return of the Joker, which is great if you guys have never seen.
Oh, yeah, I like Return of the Joker. That was a fun
fantastic, great 90-minute animated film.
Yep, it was great. It was totally great for what it was.
I think the budget would be too high for a live action
movie.
Oh,
live action, it would be ridiculous. Like for a live action Batman Beyond, for the studio to hope to break even or make some profit, you'd have to be able to do it for like $8 million.
Which is impossible.
Which is they're not going to do.
Guys, I've got the idea. Shoot it in Canada.
Or shoot it in Canada. $10 in Canada. Another question from the live chat board here is Max is asking, is it possible, is there a danger that Ben Affleck is getting too much power in the DC cinematic universe? First he becomes Batman, now he's bringing on his writer from Argo. Is this a problem? No. If anything, you want Ben Affleck to get more power. Like, let's be straight about this. Ben Affleck is probably one of the 5 best directors in Hollywood right now. He's made 3 films, but every one of them has been excellent. He made Gone Baby Gone,
Right.
which was a great film. Like, it's not a good film, it's a great film. He made The Town, another great film. Then he made Argo, won Best Picture of the Year. And, by the way, every single awards body out there, except the Oscars, every single awards body, including the Directors Guild of America, all the directors in Hollywood got together and voted Ben Affleck Best Director of the Year. This is the type of caliber he is. This is the same guy who built a Batcave in his house. So you got a guy who's one of the best filmmakers in Hollywood right now, very solid actor, who is passionately in love with the DC universe. If DC was ever going to get a Joss Whedon type for their universe, they would do much worse than to get a guy like Ben Affleck. So no, like Ben Affleck, he's Batman. Then he brought on the writer who won the Academy Award last year for Best Screenplay, and he brought him over to do a rewrite on the script. There's no way that's a bad thing at all. So no, I don't think there's any danger of him getting too much power, because I personally believe any amount of power that Ben Affleck gets in the DC cinematic universe is good news for film fans. That's just my perspective. Like, what do you guys think?
I mean, personally, I don't think it's a problem, but it really just remains to be seen. I mean, we haven't seen what he's done yet. You know, we haven't seen Man of Steel 2 with him as playing Batman. We haven't seen the standalone Batman movie. So maybe if those suck, then we'll be like, oh my God, Ben Affleck was the worst thing to ever happen to the DC franchise or DC universe. But it hasn't happened yet, so we can't really say.
Yeah, I think it's though it hasn't happened yet, knowing that Ben Affleck is a sweaty nerd just like us, like collected Batman, had a Batcave built in one of his homes. Look, he himself has been on record saying, I'm disappointed with Daredevil. That happened 10 years ago. I think he's taking more power and taking the reins, so to speak, in this approach to not only Batman, but what he's going to be doing as a producer for the Batman series, possibly directing the new trilogy of Batman. So he's bringing in one of the powerhouse writers that he knows that won an Oscar. I can't say that's a bad thing. And also just shake it up a little bit. Goyer's going to bust off and go write Sandman and some other films. Let this other guy add some new flavor to it. I mean, it can't get worse than the guy who won the Oscar last year. Yeah. Here we've got this guy who has this weird thing. It's called an Oscar. He's writing Man of Steel 2. How are you going to complain about that? I don't know. I mean,
I just got to respond to this too. It's just I got a bunch of people on the chat board because I just said he was the best director. A lot of people saying no, John Ang Lee was better last year, or this guy was better. This guy. I just want to remind everybody that the Directors Guild of America, all the directors, not anybody else, the directors all got together and they said Ben Affleck was the best director of the year. I'm just pointing that. That's just the fact. I'm just putting that out there. Interpret that as you will. That's all I'm going to say. All right, let's get something else here. Matthew Jaso in the chat board is asking a question. Do you think that Starblazers needs a big-name actor or high-end CG budget? Starblazers is, it was also called Space Battleship Yamato was the Japanese name of the animated series. For those of you who don't know what Starblazers is, it's awesome. I had a massive geek out when they announced that they were developing and a studio was moving ahead with making a Starblazers movie. But like Batman Beyond, I've said for a long time, I've always wanted a Starblazers movie. Always. But if I'm a studio executive, I'm not making it. I mean, it's just, but the difference between Starblazers and like a Batman Beyond is that nobody has an association with Starblazers at this point. It's just it might as well just be a from scratch movie. This movie about this, Earth creating this space battleship out of an old World War II ship that's got to fly to a distant planet, fight off a bunch of aliens, come back. Might as well be from scratch. There's a difference between that and like attaching the name Batman, because once you attach the name Batman, even if you're calling it Batman Beyond, now people have expectations. Now people have an opinion about what they think that should and should not be. With Starblazers, it doesn't. But yeah, if I was a studio executive, I never would have greenlit Starblazers, but I'm damn happy they did. And yeah, I think it's going to need a really, really big budget. You guys have any thoughts on that, or should I move on to the next one?
Yeah, I was a big fan of Starblazers as well when I was a kid.
Awesome.
Yeah, it just had the cool secret weapon in the ship and how they restored it and made it a spaceship. They made a Japanese version.
I was going to say it came out like a year ago.
Yes.
It looked pretty cool. I mean, it didn't have any big names in it, but I actually agree, though. I do think they need a big budget for it to make it work, and I think they need some names in it. But I don't think a studio will invest that type of money in something like that.
I think they should not do a big budget, especially a U.S. version, because I actually watched part of the Battle Chasers foreign version. Sorry, man, it was boring. I turned it off. But I'm not from the camp of having watched the cartoon, but it was already like 20 minutes of just like these panning shots inside this giant floating spaceship, like a battleship.
Right.
I didn't really get it.
Pull your microphone this way a little bit.
Sure.
The difference though is I wouldn't judge anything based on the Japanese. I saw the Japanese version of the live action film. First of all, it looked cheap. I mean, it looked. I loved what they were going for. It felt very Battlestar Galactica-ish, like their cinematography of it.
It's very blue.
Yeah, and I kind of like what they're going for. But let's call spade a spade. It looked like video game graphics.
Yeah,
it looked like video game cutscenes. It did not look good, and I didn't like the approach. I'm sure a North American version would have a very, very, very different script and do it. And I do believe they're going to need a fairly big budget to do a movie like this. To do it right, it's going to need a fairly big budget. How big? I'm not really sure. Okay, next question from the chat board here. Omar El Marisi writes, from London, Ontario, Canada. Only about 45 minutes from my hometown of Hamilton, Ontario. Also, the hometown of Ryan Gosling, ladies, is London, Ontario. So from London, Ontario, Canada, do you think that Godzilla could be hurt at the box office due to them not showing Godzilla, like Star Trek didn't show Khan, or let us know it was Khan? And I'm sure what Omar's referring to is, the first teaser came out for Godzilla, and it wasn't a teaser; it was a full-blown. It was a 2-minute long. Once it's 2 minutes, it's a trailer. So the first trailer for Godzilla came out, didn't really show us Godzilla. I don't think it was a very good trailer, but I also don't believe for a second that we're not going to get a Godzilla trailer that shows us Godzilla. We're going to have a Godzilla trailer that shows us Godzilla in all of his majesty before the movie comes out. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Right now, they're just giving us little glimpses. By the time we're like 2 months away or 1 month away from the release of the film, I've got no doubt they're going to show us Godzilla, because Godzilla is the biggest marketing piece of this movie.
Right.
They want to get people in the theaters, they got to show Godzilla. And so if they don't show Godzilla, they're idiots, and that will hurt the box office.
That's what they did in 1997.
Right?
Though.
Remember, they just showed the eye.
They showed the foot, the eye.
Remember, they had these trailers. They built it up. The trailers were great. They had like a guy fishing, and then all the wood was like ba 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 ba.
Yeah.
They had all these different trailers showing the coming of Godzilla. And then he showed up, and he's like a little iguana or whatever.
I contend we didn't really see Godzilla.
We didn't really see Godzilla.
We didn't get Godzilla in 1998.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt, because showing us Godzilla will be the biggest, that's their biggest marketing diamond, is Godzilla. They're going to show us Godzilla before. Yeah. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah. Plus, it's going to have the biggest opening of all time, because it's opening on my birthday, guys. So just...
Sanjim24 is writing in. He's saying his name is Navid. And Navid on the chat board is asking, what do you guys think about Bradley Cooper as Flash? Well, let's be clear here. There is no Flash movie yet, not in development. But, I mean, eventually it's inevitable. We'll probably get one at some point, especially if Man of Steel 2 is good and does well at the box office. I've been a huge Bradley Cooper fan since he was on Alias. I've been preaching the gospel of Bradley Cooper since he was on Alias. I love this dude as an actor. I think he's terrific, and I think he'd be a very good fit to play, either a Wally West or any of the other incarnations. I mean, Barry is who I want to see as Flash. Sure. That's probably who he'll be. And he'd be a great one. I think he'd be a really good one. What do you guys think about Bradley Cooper as Flash?
I think he'd be good. I'm just interested in seeing if they do a movie, because they have the whole TV series coming out. I think you watch Arrow. Apparently they just introduced Flash on there.
On Arrow, yeah.
And how they're going to incorporate, I mean, obviously it's going to be separate worlds, but it might be, I don't know, kind of confusing in a way.
Schnepp?
Well, yeah. I mean, Bradley Cooper's a great actor. He's you know, if he was cast tomorrow as the Flash, and I'd say, wow, I'm going to see that film because he's going to add something to it as the character Barry Allen as the Flash. He'll be a fun actor to watch. Have to run really fast or learn how to do all this stuff or have to eat 100 sandwiches because my metabolism is incredibly fast, like pounding sandwiches as he's running or whatever. Whether or not the Arrow Flash and the movie version Flash are going to, coincide, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Bradley Cooper would be a great choice as the Flash. I wouldn't have any problems with that.
This next question comes to us from Julian Lynn, who writes, question, have you ever seen a trailer which got you absolutely hyped for that film, and then you saw the movie and were like, what was that? And then you were so disappointed. Example, Sucker Punch. Well, Julian, Sucker Punch is a great example of that. There were so many of us that were so buzzed about Sucker Punch. Because I remember they came to Comic-Con, showed some footage. We were all like, yeah, it was from Zack Snyder who did 300. Yeah, we were all so excited, and the movie was such garbage. Now, it's a terrible movie, and it's hard for me to say that because a friend of mine is actually one of the stars of the film. But it was a terrible movie. It's a beautiful movie, gorgeous movie. I've jokingly said before, but I mean this wholeheartedly. If you've got like the Sucker Punch Blu-ray, you put that movie in and then just hit mute and kind of imagine your own dialogue or story going on as you're watching it, you'll really enjoy the movie because it's just gorgeous to look at.
But why do you own the Sucker Punch Blu-ray?
I do not. I do not. But if you did, for argument's sake, maybe went on Netflix and just mute it, it's a much better movie if you just turn the sound off. For me, forever, the movie where I was so psyched by the trailer and then was so let down by the movie is always going to be The Phantom Menace. I still think the trailer for The Phantom Menace, greatest trailer ever made. It made me pee myself. I mean, literally, urine streaming down my leg.
A double-bladed lightsaber? What's happening? Yeah.
Losing control of all bodily functions. Yeah. It was just because, you grew up like me, where Star Wars is my life and my religion and everything. It was just so good.
John, would you have ever guessed when you saw that trailer that those cool robots on those floating machines would be like, Roger, Roger?
No.
I never in a million years thought that they would have the lamest dialogue and be like, beepity beep, Roger that. It was like, Roger. Wow. Yeah, I agree.
It's like, really? You could have walking, self-aware robotics, but you don't have better voice programs for them?
Yeah.
And go check it out, Corporal. Roger, Roger. Like, really? We don't have anything better than that?
Well, the voices sucked in that movie.
Oh, the voices sucked.
You know what? I still contend that George Lucas was like made the prequels like he was like, well, Star Wars was supposed to be like my Flash Gordon, so these prequels have to be even more racist. Yeah. And so we'll have these guys, the Namidians, talk like we'll have them talk like Japanese. Yeah. We'll have these guys talk like every single racist kind of stereotype. You have the guy who's selling the gold. Hey, what's going on? Let me sell you some gold. Got some of this stuff here. And then the other guy's like, whoop, 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 whoop. It's like, it's unbelievable. And even just having his kids name all the characters, that's not the biggest crime. The biggest crime to me was like having all those racist voiceovers. That's unbelievable.
We have to disrupt all the communications
down
there.
And that was like right at the beginning.
Really just say that?
He really did say that.
That's like right at the beginning of the movie. It's like one of the first things you hear, and you're like, what is going on here?
Am I imagining this? And then you have we don't even have to talk about Jar Jar stepping in poo and farting and like, what's going on? Just an unbelievable cavalcade of crap.
Again, you come before us, Your Highness. What is he saying? How is he saying this?
I am a stereotype from the 1930s. You did not understand what I was saying. Let me speak again in this very stereotypical accent.
They even had the baseball announcers, which was ridiculous.
Oh, my God.
2 heads better than 1. What's going on?
Oh, my gosh. Here comes Anakin Skywalker.
Yes, pod racing.
And you know what the biggest sin about that movie is I watched that movie. I've already explained how ridiculously psyched I was for that movie. It's my religion and everything. I went to go, and I was working when that movie came out. I was working as in a visual effects company at the time. So I was a producer and a client relations guy at a video effects company. So I was really big into CGI, very big, and I went and the effects in Phantom Menace, I mean, take nothing away from those. Mm-hmm. They were astonishing. They changed the game. But I remember going to go see that movie, and I had convinced myself to like it. I convinced myself that was awesome. That was awesome. I went to go see it again. That's awesome. I literally saw it about 12 times in theaters. And by the time I got to about the 5th or 6th time, I started realizing, the more I watch this, the more it doesn't, no, this isn't quite right. And then I watched it like the 10th time. By the time I was at 10th time, I was like, no, this movie really, really sucks. This movie really sucks.
I have a similar but different story in that, like, I had a big argument with my girlfriend, so I stood in line by myself for 6 hours over at the Man's Chinese to see the opening day of Phantom Menace. Got in, everybody had their lightsabers, and then about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes into the movie, I remember looking at the front seat of my chair and saying, I can't believe I'm bored in a Star Wars movie because they won't shut up about these tax trade federation. Why is there a 4th meeting about taxes in a I was bored. And I remember just from that moment, like the rest of another hour of that movie, I was so disappointed and saddened with everything from Jake Lloyd's wooden, like a tiny Muppet creature.
How annoying was
the kid? Just couldn't act. Yeah. They should have known that from the Arnold Schwarzenegger film, The Jingle All the Way. The kid was in that the year before as an unable to act child, like a creature from hell, like Stepford child. Like, what? I just want a toy for Christmas, Grampy Daddy. Whatever it is. It's unbelievable, man. So this has just turned into a super Phantom Menace hate, but we're supposed to be hating on Sucker Punch. Yeah. That was one of the only films of that year. It was like 2 years ago that I almost walked out on, and I was like, a really good friend of mine, Alex Pardee, did all the production design, all the design, all the characters. The design work is incredible, and I mean every character in that looks fantastic. The different worlds that they go through. I'll contend that 3rd dream stage that all the girls fight in, if you put all 4 of those segments together, it's about a 20-minute amazing film. Because it's just this entire dream fantasy of them fighting dragons and zombie Nazis. So it's like this complete heavy metal movie that's 20 minutes. The rest of the movie is complete trash and doesn't make any sense. Condescending towards women, really strange way of showing a woman trying to get freedom by being insane and then having her brain taken out. I mean, the multiple dream states just are badly written too. I mean, there's like so much about that film that doesn't merit talking about, except for that. Those 20 minutes, though, really kind of made me stay in the theater. Every time they went to that 3rd dream state, I was like, wow, that was fantastic. When they're fighting those robots on the bullet train, that was like some of the best choreography and action. I mean, Zack Snyder's a great director. I just think this was just like this giant explosion. So, I'm sure in 5 or 6 years, he'll be like, yeah, it sucked. He'll admit it.
Yeah, probably. All right, let's go on to the next question. And the next question we got in here comes from William Parcell. And William Parcell writes, question, how do you think they will explain Scarlet Witch's powers in Avengers 2? It would be easy to make her a straight magic user, maybe a failed student of Doctor Strange. This is a great question. This is a question I've really been wondering is how are they going to handle the Scarlet Witch thing? For those of you who don't know, Scarlet Witch is going to be one of the characters in the next Avengers film, and she is a, wait for it, witch. So will she be a straight magic user? How are they going to introduce magic into the world? That's very interesting. They seem to, in the Marvel Universe, they kind of seem to avoid the magic issue by also talking about, like with Thor. In Thor, Thor kind of explains magic. He goes, you call it magic, we call it science. Really, they're one and the same because of how it works. So I'm very curious. When they said they were going to do a Doctor Strange, remember, that's not official. I think they're working towards it, and I do think we're going to see a Doctor Strange in Phase 3. But remember, it's not official yet still. When they said that they were looking at Doctor Strange, I remember thinking, okay, that's cool, but how are they going to do that? Like, how are they going to approach it? What is their philosophy on going to be? Are they going to say magic is really just a weird new way of actually dealing with the actual physical world? Or are they going to say it's actually pure straight up magic? How do you think they're going to do it?
For me, I think they're going to just take magic straightforward and say magic is real. Magic, like magicians is like people like doing huckster tricks or like flipping cards. Oh, here's a big quarter coming out of your nose, that kind of stuff. That's magic. This stuff is real, son. All of a sudden portals open, creatures come out, tentacles. I think it's going to just be like straightforward. Like there's other dimensions, just like in Thor, they have all the 9 realms. Doctor Strange, there's more than 9 realms, God. Here's 100 more. It's like, I think they're just going to make it like a real thing and kind of let go of the idea of like, this is technology and this is magic. They've already fused the two. I mean, they've got the Tesseract, the cube,
right,
which is for all intents and purposes magic. It's sorcery, supernatural. It's not real. So I mean, you're also dealing with things like, hey, there's a dude who can like summon electricity, and by the way, he also flies, and and also there's a portal that opened that let a lot of like flying slugs and other aliens from another dimension in to attack Earth. So I think the magic thing's all taken care of. Iron Man was the one that was like all technology based. Then once they brought in, oh, I have this super soldier serum, which is kind of magic, but also explained through technology.
Well, it's explained all through science.
Hulk explained through science, but then you've gone overboard once you've introduced aliens. I think Iron Man 3 kind of dealt with Tony Stark kind of like, look, I just fought a bunch of aliens from another planet. I'm trying to deal with this when he was hanging out in that small town with the kid. It was his like recuperation moment, like I'm dealing with aliens attacking New York. So I think, Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch, remember her power comes from a hex, which is like, I can't really control it. I just think of something and a reaction happens. Like I could think I want more of that drink and instead this one will get filled. So her control over how she affects things, even as a full grown, superhero, always had, it's like, well, there's a big if factor, 50-50, you might end up on Mars. You know what I mean? There was always that, don't use your power yet. We're not, you can't even control it. That was the scary part. I remember as a kid reading Avengers, she'd do something, but some bad stuff would happen once in a while. So, not being able to fully control this, scientific power that you were born with, the ability to manipulate matter, the ability to manipulate things. I mean, I think they'll scientifically explain it in some way, which won't make sense because it's not real. So but they'll explain it.
Hey guys, I just want to remind you, we're going to take one more question here, and then we're going to take about a 5-minute break so we can stretch our legs just a little bit. We've been going for almost an hour. But I just want to remind you once again, guys, while we're doing the show, open up another browser window, and you can see right here the URL, www.crowdrise.com/AMC Movie News Philippines. We are raising money to help the disaster relief victims in the Philippines. Please join us as fellow sweaty movie nerds. Go on over there, click donate now, make a donation. It would be really awesome if you did. Now we're going to take one more question, and then we're going to take just like a 5-minute break, and then we will come back and do more. And the question, our last question of this segment, is from For Ollie Care. For Ollie Care writes, question, do any production studios have the rights to make Masters of the Universe, a.k.a. He-Man, or Thundercats? Do you think they're possible live-action franchises? Well, it's funny you mentioned that because just recently, G.I. Joe director John Chu was attached to do He-Man and Masters of the Universe. I believe it's Warner Brothers who holds the rights to it. They have tried a couple of times over the last few years to get a Masters of the Universe movie together, and both times they start getting through stages of development and then they chop it off. And then they get through, and it really looked like John Chu was going to make it happen. It looked like they had their director, they were moving forward, they had their script, and then just out of nowhere they decided to slam the door on it. With Thundercats, I heard at one point they were kind of starting the development process of looking at a Thundercats movie, but that got axed. I don't know when we're going to see one. I think we're definitely going to see a He-Man movie long before we see a Thundercats movie.
Yeah.
And then if that works, then you'll hear people talking about Thundercats again. But I honestly, I have no idea how far away. We could be very far. We could be like 10 years away from a He-Man movie. We could be 6 months away from a He-Man movie. I simply don't know at this point. What do you guys think?
I think He-Man's much more plausible. Probably not soon, but relatively soon. Thundercats is just a harder sell.
It is
for what it is, Like,
well, and it wasn't as popular as He-Man either.
No.
Also, they just did a Thundercats reboot like 2 years ago and
on TV.
Yeah, no one. It wasn't a big hit. It got canceled.
Yeah.
So I think Thundercats would get revived if this newer Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie is a giant hit. That'll revive. What other animals that are human do we have? Well, we got Thundercats. That might all of a sudden get some heat if the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a smash out success. He-Man, on the other hand, I think will get revived next year more in the animation realm, and then we'll see how that goes. That's my guess. So,
okay, well, listen, guys, what we are going to do right now is we're going to take just a few minutes of a break, and this is what we're going to do. Now, while we're taking a short break, I'm going to show you something from about 1 year ago. Now we're approaching the end of 2013, and to begin 2013, I watched this again this morning and I laughed. At the beginning of 2013, Amy Rose, our AMC Movie News editor, and myself, we did a video at the beginning of the year called our most anticipated films of 2013. And, you know, some of these, we did our top 20 list of our most anticipated films of 2013. And it's kind of funny now sitting back and watching them and realizing some of these movies that I was really looking forward to turned out so bad. Oh, no. But so while we take a break here for a minute, I'm going to show you guys this video, this 1-year-old video of Amy Rose and I giving our top 20 most anticipated films of the year list. Sit back, watch it, and prepare to laugh at us a little bit. So check this out, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Okay, so run down for us again your top 20.
20, Evil Dead. 19, Side Effects. 18, Dead Man Down. 17, Warm Bodies. 16, Movie 43. 15, Pacific Rim. 14, Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. 13, Incredible Burt Wonderstone. 12, The Hunger Games Catching Fire. 11, Oz the Great and Powerful. 10, World War Z. 9, The Wolverine. 8, The Hobbit, The Dissolution of Smaug. 7, Kick-Ass 2. 6, The Place Beyond the Pines. 5, Anchorman 2. 4, The Great Gatsby. 3, Thor, The Dark World. 2, Star Trek Into Darkness. And 1, Iron Man 3. And just honorable mentions, I am really excited for Jurassic Park 3D. I think dinosaurs in 3D is going to be awesome. The World's End, I think, looks really funny. This Is the End also looks really funny. And Now You See Me, I think, looks really clever. It's a heist mixed with magic. Jesse Eisenberg, I think, it looks really good.
Awesome. So now we'll get to my top 10 list, or top 20, I should say. Now, before I do, there are so many movies I'm looking forward to this year. Here are some quick honorable mentions before I get to my top 20. 12 Years a Slave with Benedict Cumberbatch, Brad Pitt, and Michael Fassbender. Dear heavens, that looks really good. Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. The World's End, always got to give a nod of the hat to Edgar Wright. Much Ado About Nothing, the new Joss Whedon film that he shot in like 4 days. Very much looking forward to that. Gangster Squad, R.I.P.D. with Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges. That could be really cool. Warm Bodies, and who would have thought I put a Michael Bay film on here, but Pain and Gain. The trailer sold me. I'm looking forward to it. So now here are my top 20 most anticipated films of 2013 list. At number 20, A Good Day to Die Hard. Sure, the last Die Hard wasn't quite up to snuff, but you've got to include it when there's a new Die Hard movie. Number 19, The Hangover Part 3. This would have been much higher on my list if The Hangover Part 2 hadn't been so horrible, but The Hangover is so good that you've still got to include Part 3 on your anticipated films list. Number 18, This Is the End. Trailer looks hilarious. Number 17, I hated the first 3 Fast and the Furious films. Number 4 is pretty good. Number 5 was awesome. So Fast and the Furious 6 ends up on my number 17 spot. Number 16, Red 2. I loved the first Red movie, so Red 2 gets on my list. Moving into my top 15, Saving Mr. Banks. Tom Hanks stars as Walt Disney, and the whole story about how him trying to get Mary Poppins turned just from a book into a motion picture looks amazing. Number 14, The Monuments Men, starring George Clooney, Daniel Craig, Matt Damon, Bill Murray, Cate Blanchett, Jean Dujardin. Amazing cast. Number 13, Iron Man 3. Look, I'd love to have this a little bit higher on my list, but I still have that sour taste in my mouth from Iron Man 2. Good. But still, the trailer looks awesome, so it makes it into my top 15 at number 13. Number 12. I don't know that I've ever looked more forward to a zombie movie than I am to World War Z with Brad Pitt. I thought the trailer looked amazing. Number 12, World War Z. Number 11, Oz the Great and Powerful. James Franco, Sam Raimi directing. Primo. Definitely looking forward to this. Now we get into my top 10. At number 10, Pacific Rim. Trailer was amazing. Guillermo del Toro. It's gonna be great.
It's really awesome.
Number 9, Elysium. Neil Blomkamp finally does his follow-up to District 9. Matt Damon stars in it. Jodie Foster. Got to look forward to Elysium. At number 8, The Great Gatsby. Leonardo DiCaprio, Joel Edgerton, who was awesome in Warrior and in Zero Dark 30. Carey Mulligan. On and on. Great cast, great story. Great Gatsby. At number 7, Anchorman, The Legend Continues. I know that Will Ferrell isn't for everybody. I don't like every Will Ferrell film, but Anchorman to me is one of the all-time great comedies.
Yep.
So the fact that they're doing a sequel and they've gotten all the cast back, excellent. Number 7, Anchorman. Number 6, Kick-Ass 2. Loved the first Kick-Ass so much. So I was really excited that they're finally doing Kick-Ass 2. At number 5, The Wolverine. Once again, I know the last one was nothing to write home about, but the fact that James Mangold is directing this one, who also directed 3:10 to Yuma and the Tom Cruise Night and Day, which I thought was a very good film, gives me a lot of hope, and I love the storyline for it. Number 4, Star Trek Into Darkness. I thought the last Star Trek movie should have been nominated, not win, but should have been nominated for Best Picture. I love that movie. I've been dying to see this new one. And, of course, seeing Benedict Cumberbatch as the villain. I still think it's going to be Khan, but we'll see how this works out. Number 3, Thor, The Dark World. Thor is absolutely my favorite Marvel pre-Avengers film. I liked it more than Iron Man, than Captain America, than the Hulk films, and I loved all of them. But I saw Thor about 7 times in theaters in its first run. I loved it that much. Number 2, The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. I loved this Hobbit. I know as the story progresses, it's going to get better and better and better. So definitely The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. Unfortunately, we got to wait for a year for it. And my number 1 film, my most anticipated film, and this is one of those situations where it wasn't going to be number 1, maybe not even in my top 10, but the trailer killed it. Man of Steel. Man of Steel, Henry Cavill as the new Superman. You got Zack Snyder directing it. You got Christopher Nolan as one of the writers and executive producers on it. This is going to be amazing. I'm so excited for Man of Steel. So once again, my top 20. Number 20, A Good Day to Die Hard. Number 19, The Hangover Part 3. Number 18, This Is the End. Number 17, Fast and Furious 6. Number 16, Red 2. Number 15, Saving Mr. Banks. Number 14, The Monuments Men. Number 13, Iron Man 3. Number 12, World War Z. Number 11, Oz the Great and Powerful. At number 10, Pacific Rim. Number 9, Elysium. Number 8, The Great Gatsby. Number 7, Anchorman, The Legend Continues. Number 6, Kick-Ass 2. Number 5, The Wolverine. Number 4, Star Trek Into Darkness. Number 3, Thor, The Dark World. Number 2, The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. And my number 1 most anticipated film of the year is Man of Steel. Okay, so run down for us again your top 20. Hey, guys. Okay, so there was... as I turn off the echo, there was the top 20. As you can tell, a number of the films that were in my top 20 most anticipated films of the year list will not be in my top 20 films of the year list. Absolutely not. So, like, out of 2013, since we're sitting here now talking about this, for you guys, what were, let's not say worst movie of the year. What were a couple of your most disappointing movies? Like the movies that had the biggest gap between how good you thought it would be and how good it actually ended up being. The biggest gap. What do you guys think?
Mine was Elysium. It was probably top 3 movie that I was most looking forward to for 2013. And it's not a bad movie. I just had such high expectations because of District 9 and everything that was coming out of Elysium just looked great, you know, like all the visuals. Matt Damon was part of it. Sharlto Copley was back. And when I saw it, I was like, this is okay. I never really even thought about it again after I saw it.
Schnepp, what about you?
I'd say the Wolverine. I mean, I liked it. I didn't love it. I was like under, like, if I give it a 60, I think, now upon retrospective. And I have not seen the extended edition with extra ninja fights and blood and stuff. But just overall, like, I was so anticipating this film ever since hearing about Darren Aronofsky and Hugh Jackman making the film, and then that not happening. And then this other director, James Mangold, who's done a bunch of great films, Copland. I was expecting something a little bit more than what I ended up getting, which just felt kind of all over the place, a little bit scattered, very slow pace, and then a lot of really garish and cartoonish last 30 minutes. The Viper character just completely out of place. Him fighting this metal robot bad guy who was kind of way over the top. All of a sudden, I just felt like I was like in a really bad exploitation grindhouse movie and not the other 2 hours of the film. So, I mean, I'm not saying I hated it. Hugh Jackman's the best superhero character, actor who's playing a character. I think his take on Wolverine is great. He's a great actor. If he wasn't the Wolverine in that movie, that probably would have gotten an F for me. It would have been watchable. See The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren instead. Maybe not on that level, but it was just a big disappointment to me. I'm looking forward to Days of Future Past and another Wolverine movie, even him teaming up with Mangold and getting another shot at it. So, That to me is a big one.
For me, by far, my biggest disappointment of the year was one of the films that is on my top 20 list, and that was Gangster Squad. My hope for Gangster Squad was through the roof because you had a really good director that I liked. You had a fantastic cast, and the movie was it was just not just disappointing. It's a terrible, terrible movie, just awful. And I was so let down by that, so very, very disappointed by it. So, yeah, for me, my most disappointing film of the year is going to have to be Gangster Squad. And you know what? I think when we get to the 24-hour movie marathon on January 2nd, don't forget to raise money for the Philippines disaster. You go to that URL down there and donate now. When we get to the 24-hour movie marathon that we're going to do on January 2nd, 24-hour live streaming AMC Movie Talk show, I think that's the show where we will all do our top 10 lists of the year. I think that's the one where we'll run down our top 10 worst films of the year and our top 10 best films of the year, our favorite comedies, our favorite superhero films, our favorite, a bunch of other things. I think we'll do all those lists on January 2nd when we do the 24-hour show. Not so much right now.
We haven't had the opportunity to see all the movies yet.
Right.
They're still coming out. There's coming out on Christmas, so I feel like we need to see them.
Yeah. All right, guys, before we go on to the next question or topic, it is time for us to do some giveaways. Mm-hmm. So we got some giveaways we're going to do. And let's see, the first thing we're going to give away here on the show is we are going to give away, what's the first thing? Thor, The Dark World, the collector's set of 3 unique 3D glasses from Thor. There is one Thor-themed set of glasses, one Loki-themed set of glasses, and one Malekith-themed set of glasses. So remember, this is how you're going to do it, okay? You guys, you need to tweet us. Use Twitter for this, all right? And tweet to us using the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. Hashtag AMC Movie Talk. And make sure you are following me on Twitter, because I'm going to have to direct message you to communicate with you and find out how to send you one of these giveaways. You can follow me on Twitter at John Campia. Make sure you're following me and use the hashtag. And what is the first thing? All right, so here's our first question. Tweet to us using the hashtag AMC Movie Talk and tweet, what was your favorite superhero movie of 2013? So jump on Twitter and just tweet out what your favorite superhero movie was of 2013 and include the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. So jump on Twitter, tweet what your favorite superhero movie was 2013, use the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. So go ahead and start doing those. We'll do another giveaway in just a few minutes. So with that done, let's see here. All right, William Parcell. Didn't we already get a question from William Parcell? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
I'll take it anyway for now. William Parcell asked the question, how do you think Ultron will be created? Talking about Avengers 2 Age of Ultron. How do you think Ultron will be created? I think S.H.I.E.L.D. will create it as a weapon. Stark wouldn't create it since he is anti-weapon. Well, to say Stark wouldn't create it because he's anti-weapon, he creates the Iron Man suits. Those are weapons. So I don't think he'll make a big tank for the U.S. government, but Stark makes this kind of stuff. I do think Stark creates them. And I think that we saw in that one Comic-Con teaser trailer, we saw the Iron Man hammer or the Iron Man helmet kind of transform into the Ultron helmet. Yeah. I really do think that Tony Stark ultimately will be the one that creates him. Now, in the comic books, Hank Pym creates him.
Right.
But Hank Pym we already know that Hank Pym is not going to be in Avengers 2. So I really do believe it's going to be Tony Stark. How do you guys see it?
I think the teaser trailer pretty much says it. I mean, you have the Iron Man helmet turning into Ultron helmet. So, I think that's it.
The Genesis will be starting with the Iron Man armor. And you know what? Let's not say Hank Pym is not going to be in Avengers. Maybe he's not going to be Ant-Man, but I can my gut instinct is going to say Whedon is going to slap Paul Rudd in a little small role as part of, helping Stark out with some AI or some weird. He's going to be in there somewhere. They're going to bury him. He's going to have a walk on, but I think he's going to be on there. So, whether or not how Ultron's origin is going to be handled. Maybe the Scarlet Witch will be like do some kind of magical power hex, you know, like she's gonna like give him instant AI, like, you know, to create the singularity with Ultron by thinking about it while eating a sandwich. I don't know. I mean, I think it's gonna, Stark's obviously gonna be the creator of Ultron. I think that's what's gonna be the storyline.
But you heard it here first. John Schnepp says Paul Rudd is gonna be in.
Paul Rudd is gonna be in Avengers 2.
So you think that they're gonna pull J.J. Abrams with Khan thing? Because Joss Whedon did say Hank Pym not gonna be in Avengers 2, but you're thinking that's BS. They're gonna put him in.
I think it's not going to be as big as a Khan reveal. I think he's going to be in there. He's going to have a walk-on. He's going to be working for Stark Industries. He's going to have some kind of slappy, and here's Hank Pym. He's on the trip fall, maybe a little comedic element with Paul Rudd. I'm not saying all of a sudden he's going to be like some fumbler, but, you know, I think he's going to have a moment of flavor is what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to disregard Hank Pym in the Marvel Cinematic Universe where everything's tied in together. I just don't think they're going to announce it. It'll be one of those fun cameos, you know?
Okay. And you could very well be right. Let's go on to the next question. The next question comes from William Guerrero. And William writes, if the Fantastic Four reboot fails, now Fox is developing a reboot of Fantastic Four. It's being directed by Josh Trank, who directed Chronicle. They've already started to announce some of the people who are going to be in it. But anyway, so William's asking, if the Fantastic Four reboot fails critically and financially, like the last two, well, he wrote this wrong. Like Ghost Rider 2, can Marvel or Disney regain the rights to them? So the question is basically, if Fantastic Four reboot fails critically and financially, could then, because Ghost Rider failed critically and financially, could then Marvel get the rights back like they did with Ghost Rider? Well, let's be clear here. If it fails critically and financially, Marvel getting the rights back is not connected at all to whether it's critically or financially a success or a failure. What it's connected to is if Fox, who owns the rights currently, if Fox decides to make more of them or not. See, the reason they were able to get Ghost Rider and Daredevil back is because Fox decided not to make new ones within the time limit that they have. Like, if they're within production of a new Daredevil movie every 4 years or 5 years or 7 years or 10 years, then they get to keep the Daredevil rights forever. But if they go a certain amount of time without going into production on a new film, that's why the rights reverted back to Marvel. So, if Fantastic Four reboot bombs critically and financially, but Fox decides they still want to make another one, then it still belongs to Fox. It's only if Fox decides that we're done with Fantastic Four, we don't want anything more to do with it, and they don't make another one within the allotted amount of time, depending on the individual rights contract, then the rights revert back to Marvel. And certainly, if the movie bombs financially and critically, that would increase the chances of Fox not wanting to make another one. Yeah. But I think Fox is all in on this. I think Fox has a plan right now to make a shared universe between the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, which also belong to Fox. And I believe they have a long-term plan. And I think if the first one fails, the first Fantastic Four fails, I don't think that's going to deter them. I think they're going to keep going with the plan. And if it continuously fails, then they'll maybe give up on it, let the rights go back to Marvel, or sign a deal with Marvel to sell the rights back. But one financial critical bomb I don't think is going to do it. How do you guys see it?
I mean, it has to be a pretty huge bomb for them to give back the Fantastic Four rights. I mean, it can't be just like, oh, we lost X amount of money. It has to be like, wow,
we lost $300 million.
It's gotta be. No, seriously, that's the neighborhood it would have to be in. It would have to be like, we lost $300 million or $400 million, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, and on the switch on that, if they made like, wow, Fantastic Four made $1 billion. Here, Marvel, have it back. They would, if it's like a massive hit. Marvel's never going to say, let's just put it that way. Like you said, Marvel will never see the cinematic rights to the Fantastic Four or X-Men ever again, and at least in our lifetimes. But they have them for video games, and they have them for cartoons, and obviously they have them for comics. So if you really need to see the Fantastic Four hanging out with the Avengers, there's a million comic books that have that happening, as well as storylines in the video games and the animated series. There's all that crossover. You're just not going to see it in movies unless Marvel was willing to give up a giant chunk of money to give to Fox saying like, yeah, we'll have Fantastic Four meet the Avengers and share this money. That's not going to happen. So, you know, I'm looking forward to how Fox handles the new rebirth of the Fantastic Four franchise and how they integrate that into the ongoing X-Men franchise, which Bryan Singer is now, you know, reinvigorating with Days of Future Past. So all these movies, like, exciting to me that Days of Future Past comes out in 5 months, you know, right around the same time as Spider-Man. So once again, we win because Sony and Fox own Marvel movies or Marvel characters. We get to see all these movies happening constantly. So I'm excited. You know, I actually really excited to see what Simon Kinberg's newer version of the Fantastic Four script, what he's adding, what he's taking away, what he's plussing. Is Annihilus still in it? You know, all these things are going to be like, I'm just excited to see what happens, you know.
All right, let's get to another question up here. And this question comes to us from Christian Garcia in the chat board writing, what happened to the sequel to The Incredible Hulk? I wanted The Incredible Hulk 2 more than I wanted Thor, The Dark World, Guardians of the Galaxy, or Ant-Man. Do you think Louis Leterrier will return? Nope. Louis Leterrier will not return. And I like the last Hulk movie very, very much. And it's not just because I'm in it. I thought it was a really, really fun movie. Had its strengths, had its weaknesses, sure. But right now, Marvel doesn't really know what to do with the Hulk in a standalone sense. You know, they did 2 Hulk movies, or 2 Hulk movies were done, I should say. And neither of them, like, blew up the box office. Let's just put it that way. They both made a little bit of money, but neither of them blew up the box office. And I remember listening to Kevin Feige once talk about the Hulk and say, like, they have a problem with the Hulk. Hulk was awesome in Avengers, but because he was just one piece of the puzzle. Can you take Bruce Banner and the Hulk and just have an entire movie that just focuses on that and just focuses on him? Because let's face it, when we see a Hulk movie, we want to see Hulk. We want to see more Hulk than Bruce Banner. And I love Bruce Banner, especially this new incarnation of him. I think, you know, Ruffalo has done a masterful job bringing us a Bruce Banner. I think he's great. But when people go see Hulk, if you don't have, let's say you got a 2-hour Hulk movie. Let's say a 90-minute Hulk movie. Now let's go 2 hours. 2-hour Hulk movie. If you don't have at least 45 minutes of Hulk, people are going to be upset. And what can you do with Hulk? I mean, if Hulk isn't fighting off an invading alien army, what else is he going to do?
Petting reindeers. Very gently calming down, but like with giant animals petting them. Yeah, Hulk smashes. So you got to set up a lot of stuff, A, for him to smash, B, for him to be angry about, because even though in the Avengers movie now he controls his anger and becomes the Hulk at will in this newer version. I mean, the second Hulk movie that Leterrier did and that Edward Norton played Bruce Banner did have a lot of pluses. It was way better, at least to me, than the Ang Lee kind of experimental, arty, like I'm angry at my dad Hulk with Hulk dogs and stuff.
You didn't like the Hulk dogs?
That was my favorite part.
You didn't like Phantom Nick Nolte?
That's right. As a comedy, Ang Lee's Hulk works amazing. Like if you want to get like kind of plastered and watch the Ang Lee's Hulk, you're gonna laugh your ass off. This newer Hulk that Edward Norton was in was actually a really well done action film, I thought.
I liked it.
It had a lot of great moments in it, and it wasn't a bad film. It just didn't hit it with the audience. It didn't make that money like you're talking about. I think then they started developing this kind of Guillermo del Toro TV series before Avengers came out, and they were like, no, the Hulk's dead to us. He's just gonna be in the TV show. There's gonna be a red, a blue, a green Hulk. There are gonna be all the different Hulks in that TV series. The movie came out. Everyone's reaction to the Hulk was, I can't believe how much I love the Hulk.
Oh, it was the Hulk we've always been waiting for.
Yeah, it's everybody's Hulk. We all were into it. And I think Marvel listened because that TV series kind of disappeared. And I bet my bottom dollar that the Hulk is going to be part of Phase 3. He's going to have his own standalone movie. But how they're going to bring the Hulk movie in is by bringing some of those other side characters in as well. So there's going to be an Iron Man Hulkbuster outfit. There's going to be more people after the Hulk. They're just going to bring in more characters that help not just pad out, but like bring the Hulk universe better together. It can't just be like Bruce Banner running away, crying, and then becoming the Hulk and smashing stuff. It has to have a bigger story. So I think they're going to add lots of stuff that we haven't seen yet from the Marvel universe into the third Hulk movie.
Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing just Bruce Banner and the Hulk on their own. I remember I really liked Peter David's run of the Incredible Hulk back in the 90s. And obviously that's probably not the most profitable way to go.
Right.
But I do think there's enough story and character there for them to make a really good movie. Profitable movie? I don't know.
But just, I mean, now that we have the Marvel Cinematic Universe, let's take advantage of it. Now, there's no reason to not have all these other characters like Samson. Doc Samson can be in the movie.
But I do think that Marvel wants to be careful about having too many characters in this universe because, I mean, we've already got problems about, like, I remember one of the whiny complaints people gave about Iron Man 3 was...
What? We get whiny complaints?
What? Movie fans give whiny complaints?
No, impossible.
Was the... Well, where was not War Machine? One of the complaints about the Avengers. Where was War Machine? Why wasn't War Machine there? Okay, well, if you got Doc Samson, if you got Hercules, if you got all, if you start really filling it, then everybody's always complaining. Then you just can't have any individual movie anymore.
Right.
I mean, and a lot of people complaining. Where was War Machine? He should have been there. And they're going to start doing that for every single character in the universe. And I think they want to just keep a little bit of a rein on how many of these guys exist within this universe. This is going to be one of those situations, Schnepp, where I completely disagree with you, and I completely hope that you're right and I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're going to see a Hulk film in Phase 3. I don't. I hope you're right. I'll be super excited if they are, and you very well could be right, but I got a feeling we're not going to see him till maybe at least Phase 4.
I would agree with you if they don't crack that code.
Right.
Like if they, right. I'm saying I don't think that they could do it just a Hulk wandering and then becoming, Bruce Banner and the Hulk. They have to weave that into the Marvel Universe. I'm not saying overkill it with chuck everybody in there and they're all in a big, rowboat together, like hulking out or whatever. I'm just saying, like, you can add the Blue Hulk or the Red Hulk. You can just add the Red Hulk and have the Red Hulk and the Green Hulk and have that storyline. That's a movie right there,
Can you imagine, though, if they made the last Hulk movie after the Avengers? Because everybody would have gone, why didn't Captain America come and help him fight Abomination? Why didn't Tony Stark?
That's right.
The Abomination's destroying Manhattan. Why isn't Tony Stark doing something about it? That's exactly. That's going to be the problem they're going to face moving forward in all these Marvel films. It's going to be interesting because every single standalone Marvel film that comes out now, they're going to have to explain why all the other heroes didn't show up.
They should start shooting those cutaways now. Like show Captain America eating a sandwich, but in a prison in outer space. Like quick. Meanwhile, here where all the other characters were because they couldn't, get involved. Just show like little 1-second cutaways.
Well, DC's going to have the same problem.
Yes,
they're going to build up.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be, why wasn't Superman there? Yeah. Batman's going to be fighting someone. Why wasn't Superman there?
We've already got a bunch of those because when they announced that Batman is going to be a more veteran Batman, already, even though we don't have a movie yet, people are saying, well, why didn't Batman show up in Metropolis to help Superman? Why didn't Batman
What's he going to do?
What was he going to do? Remember, that whole thing happened in the span of, like, when the action started, that whole thing happened in the span of an hour. Yeah. So for Bruce to get from Gotham to Metropolis. But still, the people started writing in like crazy. If he's already Batman, why didn't he show up to help Superman? Because it's a different movie.
He was captured by the Joker at that point in time.
That's right. He was fighting the Joker.
Here's the big one. Why wasn't Spider-Man in Spider-Man 4? That's what people are going to be asking.
All right. Time for another giveaway, guys. The next thing we're going to give away here, what's on the list next? We're going to give away, speaking of Wolverine, we're going to give away the Wolverine Blu-ray. So here's how you can get your hands. Remember, we're going to pick one of the responses from Twitter and just give it to one random person who responds to us on Twitter for this. And for the Wolverine Blu-ray giveaway, here's what we need you to do. Tweet to us, once again, using the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. So put out a tweet with the hashtag AMC Movie Talk and just tell us what your favorite movie is that has been in theaters that had Wolverine in it. Specifically, the Hugh Jackman Wolverine, even though I don't think there have been any other movies with Wolverine in it that didn't have Hugh Jackman. So tweet to AMC with the hashtag, not at AMC Movie Talk, the hashtag AMC Movie Talk, and tweet to us what your favorite movie is that has the Hugh Jackman Wolverine in it. Send us your response on Twitter. We're going to pick one at random, and then I will get hold of you. Make sure, once again, that you're following me on Twitter. Follow at John Campia on Twitter, because once we select the one random winner for the Blu-ray, I need to be able to direct message you, and I can only do that if you're following me.
Can I just also add that you should be following me and Dennis on Twitter?
We will, yeah.
But we won't be giving you anything, and we won't be... But
we're not giving you any.
We're saying
Giving you cool tweets.
Yeah, we'll just throw you some cool tweets once in a while. But you should also be following us. But if you want to win a Wolverine extended ninja fight DVD, follow John Campea.
All right, let's take one more question and then we'll go to another prize. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, from Aaron Drake. Aaron Drake is writing, does Peter Parker... Oh, sorry, my chat board is moving here. Does Peter Parker have to be Spider-Man in the movies, or could we see a Miles Morales or Ben Reilly? No, I get this question a lot, and I've answered it. No, we're never going to see a Miles Morales as Spider-Man. We're not going to see Ben Reilly. Ben Reilly becomes a possibility because now Sony is creating their own cinematic universe. Because we know they're giving us a Sinister Six movie. They're giving us a Venom movie. They got Spider-Man's 4, 5, and 6 planned. They've got... So they're creating their own cinematic universe for Spider-Man.
And also remember, Spider-Man in this newer version is born from Oscorp. Remember, he's bitten by a spider in Oscorp.
Right.
So there could be other characters like Ben Reilly who get bitten by the spider.
Well, we see Oscorp from the trailers for Spider-Man 2. We know that Oscorp is going to be directly connected with several supervillains that get created. So there's a lot of open doors. Ben Reilly, for those of you who don't know anything about it, Ben Reilly is actually a clone of Peter Parker, who actually believed he was Peter Parker for the longest time. And therefore was Spider-Man. Then he went on to become the Scarlet Spider once he realized he was a clone, whatever. So I think there's a possibility we could see a Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider in connection with Oscorp at some point. That's a possibility. Could we ever see Wilson Morales, who in the comic books is this kid who becomes Spider-Man after the death of Peter Parker, stuff like that? I don't think we're ever going to see that. It's the same as the Batman Beyond thing. When people go to see Spider-Man, they're going to see Peter Parker as Spider-Man. They're not interested in another person being Spider-Man.
But that does bring up, with Oscorp, that could also be how the Black Cat, how her origin, because they're using like vultures, you got scorpions. I mean, I really hope the Scorpion is going to be in, there's all these villains of Spider-Man that are, animal-based. So looks like Oscorp is all about like mutant animal stuff,
Well, the issue with Ben Reilly, though, is, okay, let's say they create that character and make a spin-off movie or something. Well, then you got to get whoever's playing Spider-Man at that time, which right now is Andrew Garfield, to play that because he's a clone.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I don't know if he wants to do that. He's like, I already just played Spider-Man. I don't want to play this character.
Yeah, suddenly you get a social network situation with Hammer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. All right, let's do another giveaway, everybody. The next giveaway we're going to do is for, I like these, the Trask Industry hats. Of course, Trask Industries is going to play a big part in the upcoming X-Men Days of Future Past. So we're going to give out, we've actually got a couple of these Trask hats to give away. So we're going to give them out to a couple people. So here is what you do. Once again, put out a tweet saying the character you are most looking forward to seeing in the new X-Men Days of Future Past. What character are you most looking forward to seeing on the big screen in X-Men Days of Future Past? Make sure you include the hashtag AMC Movie Talk, and make sure you're following not Schnepp, not Dennis, although you should follow him later. But make sure you're following me at John Campea on Twitter. Make sure you're following me because that's the only way I can then direct message you and let you know that you won and get your contact information. So to get this wonderful Trask Industries hat, make sure send out a tweet saying which character you're most looking forward to in X-Men Days of Future Past, and make sure you include the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. All right, let's get... Do you got a question there, Dennis?
It says, Bart's Music asks, what villains do you guys want to see in the new Batman trilogy? Schnepp?
I would love to see Killer Croc. I would love to see Harley Quinn at least introduced as the doctor, or, as a doctor of Arkham Asylum. I would love to... I know Joker's too soon, but not too soon to me if you introduce him in Batman, the very first Batman movie that Ben Affleck's in. I don't see why you have to wait. I think he's like, he's the ultimate Batman villain. I would love to see him introduced. I mean, Batman's got an incredible rogues gallery.
Huge.
Both him and Spider-Man together, you can argue one, the other. I was arguing that Spider-Man has a better...
Yeah, people got mad at you.
Yeah, well, people should be mad at because I'm right. If you're wrong, it's always you always get butthurt if you're wrong. You're like, yeah, I am wrong. I'm mad at that guy because I was totally right. But I'm just saying, I love Batman. He's one of my favorite characters of all superheroes. So yeah, I would love to see the Joker in the first Batman movie. And also, I mean, why not have Killer Croc? Why not have Penguin? Why not have Riddler? I mean, there's a lot of characters that can be updated and done in a cool way. So
I'd actually like to see them go outside of that core Rogues Gallery a little bit, because the one guy who I think would fit perfectly into this type of universe that they're set up cinematically, KG Beast. I think KG Beast would be an excellent villain for Batman in this kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, if the new Batman series that Ben Affleck is now leading us in becomes really successful and goes on to 3 or 4 films, I would love to see them try, kind of a more modern take on Penguin. I would love to see Riddler. I would love to see all those guys, but I think KG Beast fits in real well.
Well, I think you're right. The only thing is the name. It's just so 80s Cold War.
Well, they'd have to go. I think what they'd have to do is, like a lot of the movies now don't use the sillier names.
Right.
So what they do is, I keep forgetting KG Beast's real name.
I can't recall it right
but you just go by the real name. But we know that's KG Beast.
Sure, that's a great villain that's not been tapped yet.
They should do a North Korean Beast or something like that.
Beast.
Yeah, that's
Kim
right.
Jong-un Beast.
Yeah.
Kim Jong-un Beast. Okay, let's do another giveaway. As we're getting actually close to the end of our time, let's do another giveaway. And the giveaway we're going to do right now is our last giveaway. This is the big one. This is the great prize. The giveaway we're going to do right now is 5 sets of 2 movie tickets, 2 free small popcorns, 2 free small soft drinks as well. You're going to get a set of 5 of these, guys. So we're going to pick one winner at random. And here is what I am going to do. Once again, you need to win this giveaway that we're going to give away at random. Send out a tweet with the answer to this question. Here it is. It's amazing how many times I've asked this question. It's my go-to movie trivia question, and like 1% of the people get it. So
Robin.
Here it is. The answer is Robin. Yes.
Robin.
The question is, who did Joseph Gordon-Levitt not play in? No. So here's the question. Ready? In the original Star Wars movie, how many rebel ships attacked the Death Star at the end of the film? In the original Star Wars movie, how many rebel ships attacked the Death Star at the end of the film? There is an answer to this question, and it's in the movie. So what you do is put out a tweet saying how many rebel ships attacked the Death Star in the movie, put in your answer, and make sure you include the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. And then once again, make sure you are following me on Twitter, because that's the only way then I can get in touch with you and let you know that you are getting one of these prize packs.
And also follow me and Dennis, and then we'll remind John. We'll do a side tweet. If you're following us, we'll be like, hey, I think this guy should win the prize.
I think this prize is so good, I'm going to enter.
Yeah, we might actually side enter. I'm side tweeting right now. So
okay, so let's see here. A bunch of people asking, what are your top 5 favorite movies of the year? What are your top 10? We're going to save that for our 24-hour movie marathon on January 2nd. We'll save all of our top 10, top whatever movies of the year. So let's see. I'm going to pick one last question. Okay, let's go to this one. Scott Thomas is asking, question. I know money rules all. But why is it that box office numbers always showcase how much money the movie made versus how many tickets were sold? I think this is a question that I've addressed a couple times. So why is it when we look at box office and hear results, we hear how much money it made as opposed to how many tickets sold? I think it's because just flat out tickets sold can be a little deceiving, because if a movie decided, hey, for 1 week we're selling all tickets to come see our movie for 1 week is $5, then that kind of skews, because that's super cheap. Everybody's going to run out and see it. It skews the results. Whereas if you can have movies where some tickets are more expensive because they're 3D IMAX or whatever, but you're going to get fewer of those tickets sold because they are more expensive. So I believe just taking straight box office dollar value, while not perfect, I think it is the most representative. Because, the more expensive the movie ticket, the less tickets it'll sell. as opposed to the more regular ones. And so it all kind of balances out, I believe. So I think that's why you kind of see that number reported as opposed to number of tickets sold reported. What do you guys think?
Well, it's also, I mean, you have families that take their kids to the matinees, and then you have younger kids and adults going to the late night shows. So those tickets are going to vary between like something like Frozen and like a hard R. So,
right.
I mean, I think it's just like the amount a movie made is it's also easier than like these tickets sold. You could break all those up, but I don't think that would either also be very interesting for the general public.
Yeah.
Here's our subdivided extra long list for you people who want to have all these weird numbers in your head. 317 seats were sold at the 3 o'clock show. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
It's just, the straight out flat number per weekend. It just keeps it kind of easier too, I think.
Oh, all I heard when you read the question was Wu-Tang Clan's cash rules everything around me. That's just popping in my head the whole time.
Pretty much everything we do around AMC Movie News is a big allegory for something about the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yes.
I mean, that's what most people got.
How many chambers have you popped? What?
I said that was going to be the last question. I'll take one more. Okay, so here's this one. Comes from Nana Poku. And Nana writes, question about Fast and the Furious 7. Is there any truth to the rumor that Cody Walker is set to replace Paul Walker in the Fast and Furious 7? We actually kind of addressed this on AMC Movie Talk the other day. I don't believe there is, and I think it would be the wrong thing to do. Cody Walker is not an actor. He's not. How is putting Cody Walker in to replace his brother going to be good for the movie? It's not good for the movie. And that's not how you honor Paul Walker. I said this before, and I still completely believe this. The way you honor Paul Walker, who tragically passed away far too young. How do you honor Paul Walker? You honor him by making Fast and the Furious 7 the best Fast and the Furious movie they ever made. That's how you honor him. And getting some guy who's not an actor and putting him in one of the lead roles of the film, that doesn't serve the movie. It doesn't serve the fans. It doesn't serve anybody. I think it would be completely the wrong move, and I don't believe there's any truth to it. Now, we could find out tomorrow that Warner or Universal has cast him as the thing, and I won't fall over shock and die, but I don't believe there's any truth to it whatsoever at this point. Do you guys see it any differently?
The only way I would see them hiring him is for body double type, sort of like the Crow.
Yeah,
I mean, far shots. If they wanted
but
to
not
try
actually playing the character,
not portraying the character,
right,
and not acting, I don't think that would be wise. So
he's not an actor. Is he aspiring to be an actor?
No, he's like a stunt double.
I think he's a stunt double,
Yeah,
stunt man.
man.
That sort of thing,
Yeah. I don't know.
So give him a significant role in a major tentpole motion picture for a studio. I just look. It's not like Paul Walker. Let's call space space. It's not like Paul Walker was the greatest thespian who ever lived either. I get that, but
that's what I'm saying. Not saying that, but I'm saying like just in general. I'm not seeing Fast and the Furious franchise for the acting. Right. I'm there for the car chases and the silly dialogue and all that stuff. The over the top craziness.
Right. Well, you know what, guys? It's funny how an hour and 45 minutes flies by. We are well over the hour and a half mark.
This is just 1/12 of what we're doing on January 2nd.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I got to remind you guys, this is our final AMC Movie Talk of 2013. James Beckett is saying, please no, make Movie Talk a 365-day-a-year show. I can't get through Christmas without you guys. Well, thank you so much for your vote of support. But this is our last AMC Movie Talk of 2013. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going home for vacation. I know a lot of us are vacationing. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my MacBook Pro with me, and I'll probably put up one or two special videos. It won't be AMC Movie Talk, but I will put up a couple of videos. Maybe one do a little mailbag, do a little my top 10 most disappointing films of the year list. Something like I'll put up a couple of videos between now and the end of 2013. But as far as our regular schedule goes, our regular schedule is now officially done. Tomorrow, we will be doing a live AMC mailbag, but there will not be an AMC mailbag on Sunday because I'm on vacation, and our whole crew is going to be on vacation. So that will be that. And guys, seriously, thank you all so much for watching our stuff on AMC Movie News, for supporting us. I never thought a year ago when we started this little venture I never believed we'd hit 100,000 subscribers. And now we're just about at 125,000 subscribers. We have like over 3.5 million views of our videos now every month, which is a crazy number. Just an insane number. I mean, I know it's tiny compared to some other big YouTube channels, but for us, if you had told me in January when we were starting this, that by the end of the year, every month, we'd have like 3.5 million views of our videos, I would have thought you were crazy. So thank you guys. And for those, like there's like 1,200 of you guys in the chat board right now, taking time to talk movies with us and just be film fans with us. And guys, thank you so much for everything for this 2013. I want to thank the two guys who joined me here today. First of all, Dennis and, of course, John Schnepp, neither of whom have Twitter accounts. No. So, Dennis, where can people find you on Twitter?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, on YouTube, ThinkHero Pro. And yeah, thanks for watching, and hope you guys have a good holiday.
And Schnepp, where can people find you online?
Just John Schnepp at Twitter, John Schnepp at Instagram. And I've had a great year being here with these guys. We're in Campy Land right now. It's always a fun place to come back to. And thanks for all the love and support of the show. It's a really fun show to be on, and we couldn't do it without you guys. So thanks again. See you in 2014.
And if once again, guys, if you like this show and you get enjoyment out of it and it entertains you and engages you at all, the best way you can thank us right now, once again, I'm going to harp on this a lot until January 2nd. Do something good today. Head on over to this URL, crowdwise.com/AMC Movie News Philippines. Go on over there, click on the Donate Now button. We're working alongside of the Red Cross to support their typhoon relief efforts in the Philippines. The devastation there is huge. I know I would thank you. My wife thanks you. Our family thanks you. And I know there's a lot of families out there that would thank you as well. So please go on over there and donate what you can. It would be just awesome. We've already exceeded our goal. But seriously, guys, every single dollar you donate puts food in people's mouths. So please give us a hand and do that. Don't forget, January 2nd, an AMC Movie Talk live streaming
24 hours.
You guys will get sick of us.
If you're not sick of us already, you'll be sick of us then. We're going to start it on January 2nd at 10 a.m. and we're going to roll all the way through to January 3rd at 10 a.m. 24 hours. Please be a part of it. And we're going to be raising money once again for the relief efforts. Again, guys, thank you all so much for joining us. This wraps it up for us today. We're closer to 2 hours now. This wraps it up for us today. Thanks a lot for joining us. My name's John Campia. We will see you in 2014 for AMC Movie News. Bye-bye.